But I think what Bart said to begin all this, that there are people that are frightened of the Crowley deck, was a new and very unwelcome surprise for me when I just entered social media, because my trajectory was, meet the cards, fall in love, maybe 1995, I want to say. How old was I? Yeah, 1995. Start working with them professionally, full-time, about 2000. And at the time, how many decks were there? Out there? I don't know, 20, 40, not many. The Heimdall deck was niche.
Oh, God,
and
do you remember the circular mother piece deck?
No.
There's a circular mother piece deck.
Oh, wait. It sounds a little familiar. So when people would sit with me, I used to have...
You would be using that one. It doesn't fit your...
I'm not a very experimental person. So, started with a thought, carried on. So I would sit year 2000, had a big table at a psychic fair, and people would go, "Oh, what is this deck?" Because they would only know the Rider-Waite because James Bond. And I'd be like, "Oh, this is also a very, very popular deck. Literally everyone I know uses it because everyone I know are witches." And that was the only time I would have to explain it, 4 or 5 times a night, but the only time I would have to explain what the Thoth deck was. If you said Crowley, some people maybe knew what it was, but that was it. And then I started teaching in 2001, 2002, and I used the Rider-Waite for that. So, no problem. Went to work for Psychic TV in 2005, so didn't really get to talk to anyone who wasn't a professional reader. I was there for hours. Everybody else was there for hours. So I wasn't really face-to-face with people that would judge my decks. Then, went and had a bunch of children. 3 years ago, I joined social media, and one of the people who I admire and who I follow says, "I don't really feature the Thoth deck because people are frightened of it." And I was like, who are these people of whom you speak?
I will tell you who they are. I'll tell you who they are. They're teachers of the Rider-Waite deck. They instill fear into students of tarot. I mean, the word stupid comes to mind here. I can't, this is an interesting thing. Okay. There's several agendas at work.
That's it. I'm looking for an agenda because I think stupid is both judgmental and also unnecessarily simplistic. There is an unholy... Capitalism has got to be involved, and somehow I'm sure Boris Johnson is in there. Where is it? What's our angle?
There is an unholy alliance, against the Book of Thoth. Okay. Yeah. Controversial. The first one is the vast majority of people who are interested in tarot are women, and most of the teachers are women, and all these people, they all hate the Book of Thoth deck. It's sexist. Well, Frida Harris was a woman. I'm sorry. They have to deal with this. She was a woman as well as Pamela Colin Smith. And also the guardians of the Book of Thoth, the OTO, they also hate the Book of Thoth. And they really hate it. And you will find that not only do tarot readers who use other decks, you'll find they're completely ignorant of the Book of Thoth. You'll also find that most magicians are entirely ignorant of tarot and the Book of Thoth. Bart, you've got a point there to make.
Well, I was overreading the court cards earlier. And as always, when you read the Book of Thoth, there's some parts all of a sudden that bloody hell.
Yeah.
They strike. And there's one part here.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just on about, Crowley, and he's being accused of being a Satanist and sacrificing cats. That's the part people love about Crowley the most. And that's probably also... Anyway, Yeah.
That actually comes from the sensationalist aspects of Aleister Crowley come from the OTO. They want to get away from his knowledge and go on about the tabloid things that are happening in his life. That's more important to them than his knowledge. It's extraordinary. You know, I've noticed this for years since writing my first book. You know, it is not liked by a lot of people who are magicians because I actually give away secrets. The book of the Tarot and the Magus that I wrote is actually Graham pointed this out to me, Graham Constantine. You know, he said, well, actually, this is a book of initiation in magic book, is it? I just thought I wrote a book about you open the key spread. He said, no. This is a whole system of magic you've put in there. Really? Because I hadn't read it for 15 years. You know, if you're a writer, you write the thing and then you're sick of it. You don't pick it up for a long time. So there's this whole agenda. I mean, it's disempowering, you know, the Rider-Waite people by saying it's scary. They're disempowering people for whatever reason they want to do that. I don't know otherwise. And it goes on with the disempowerment in the OTO and other magical organizations that claim to like Aleister Crowley and his system, hate the Book of Thoth. That shuts you.
I think it's such a pity. I think it's such a I think it's such a pity because that the whole thing to me, I'm still stuck on you saying that there are magicians that have no knowledge of the tarot because even like the fluffiest second day witch knows which tarot cards to put on her basic altar in order to bring in the love or the money, or you know, maybe two cards for both. That's not even like serious ritual magicians. That's just people on Instagram. They know how to use the tarot. So I think in order to have no knowledge of the tarot, you have to willfully go in there with a staunch decision to leave tarot out of your practice. And it's no,
the other thing here, Inbal, is that the agenda for the Book of Thoth when it was written is that Crowley was on heroin, he was dying, he was off his face, drinking drugs and alcohol, he was sick. And so the implication clearly is that he was not in his right mind when the Book of Thoth was created. And probably Frida Harris had too much influence and she didn't know anything. So therefore you can completely dismiss everything about the Book of Thoth there and then. That's the agenda. And the Rider-Waite and all these people, they feed into that. As well as, I mean, I was actually at Atlantis Bookshop as a book launch, one of Tobias Churton, one of his books. I think it was the Aleister Crowley and the Weimar Republic. And I met one of the OTO guys there, you know, very high up. And I said to him, you know, what do you think about the Book of Thoth? And he just started. He said, Crowley was on drink and drugs, he was dying, and it's crap and it's rubbish and don't bother.
Wow.
That was, you know, he didn't know. I said, no, okay. He didn't know who I was and he didn't care. But that was, you know?
Sometimes that's the best way to approach a person.
Well, that's where my book launch was actually at Atlantis. So, you know, so it was, it's an interesting experience as to what goes on. So this is kind of why I'm so evangelistic about the Book of Thoth. And it's so wonderful to meet you, who's so enthusiastic as well. And Bart, of course, too, here.
I think
so. We haven't forgotten you, Bart. Don't worry. You're trying to get a word in edgeways. It's tough.
It's okay. I'm growing. My hair is.
I think it is a very specific niche, but I don't think it's as sparsely populated as you might think it is, because it is a deck that appeals to, you know, I think, to very serious magicians. Like I said, when I was involved in Wicca and in the seen and, used to guest with different people, everybody there, everybody in all the circles I've always been, when it was time to do, take some cards out for Samhain or for Yule or something, it was always the Thoth deck. And it's just so bizarre to me.
I do have to say that's not a world I've been connected with. So this is probably why, I didn't actually include Wiccan in what I was saying, did I? But I mean, it's really good if the Wiccan community is embracing. I mean, because after all, Gerald Gardner knew Aleister Crowley as well. So a lot of the rituals in Wicca are from the Golden Dawn system as well. So.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the connection is obviously undeniable, but it's not that the deck is totally devoid of problems. But I think if we were to erase everything that was chauvinistic 2 centuries ago, we'd be left with very little. Even democracy was chauvinistic. Wasn't it that only men could vote with their feet? Democracy was chauvinistic. We're still holding on to it.
Democracy is a bit of a myth these days as well. I think also, I mean, thinking about it, if the Book of Thoth was that popular, would I be espousing it? Probably not. I'd have had to have found another tarot deck.
Yeah, but perhaps that's between you and your therapist.
No. I wouldn't want to join a club that anyone invited me to, basically. The Groucho Marx.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all have that, don't we?